Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The doctor is in the building. Today, we're going to talk about depression, the elephant in the room. Right? One topic we all don't kind of want to talk about or explore, but it's still important nonetheless. I have found myself in a situation that I'm exploring myself, and it's a little bit different because when you're emotionally invested, the wiring is different in the brain. And every once in a while, you are in this fork in the road, right? Where you're reevaluating everything in life. This situation took me outside of my professional realm and placed me in a situation where it became personal. I really got emotionally attached to the situation. I've done everything in my power to try to reason and understand, and still, it just doesn't feel proper. You know, I don't know exactly how to approach the situation because I'm realizing personally part of it may be denial. There's a term that I've used in all my books, and it is as follows. Right? The truth doesn't hurt is the second one. That's the part that's challenging, right? Based on that principle, for me, what hurts me the most about the situation is accepting the fact that this person is willing to put themselves through the heartache, through the heartbreak of hardships. And there's nothing that I can do about it. I can suggest a book, a business class, course of action, execution points, data points. I can share personal perspectives. Um, I can share my experience. There's only so much that I could do, right? And even still, no common sense is applied, and this person is literally walking into the store proudly. Like, this is what makes this person function. Somebody that lives a regular day-to-day life pattern, maybe, that may not be the consensus, right? But it triggered for me so many things. But the only way that I could express it is to have a conversation about the topic that most people don't want to talk about. I categorize it as depression. I feel that this is beyond self sabotage because if a person sabotages themselves from being successful, that's one thing, right? What you will get in the end is failure. Let's say you had a goal, you didn't reach the goal is destroyed, the goalpost moves, the challenge gets more complex, but failure is the overall defining theme. Now, when somebody does that to cause emotional discomfort within themselves, that's a force multiplying factor that's completely different. And I still am exploring the understanding of the why. Why would a person submit themselves to failure for the outcome of hurting themselves emotionally? Because failure could be anything. know, you tried to do this, couldn't do it, so you failed. All right, life goes on. But that doesn't mean that the person did it intentionally to hurt themselves emotionally and psychologically. This situation leads me to believe that this is a new discovery that I didn't administrate previously. I even asked myself, I said, am I dealing with a narcissist with grandiose, multiplication factors, right? This has a lot of the traits, but the overall is different because this person is keeping themselves in a sad, like, cycle, like a sad chamber. It doesn't matter what happens. Most of it could be failure. Sometimes, even through success, this person finds a way to hurt themselves emotionally. Then, from that pain, they come out of the water and do all these amazing things for churches and charities and social political structures. Like, the world has no idea that behind closed doors, there's a person driving a Ferrari, Porsche, or Lamborghini, breaking down in tears in traffic with no tints. So people are just driving, they don't know what to do. How do you assess the situation? Do they need roadside assistance? Do they need an intervention? Do they need a hug? Do they need a kiss? There's no way to know because this is a psychosis that is stuck. And now the overcompensation of heavy charity, donating and building and doing this, and yet this person will do things to hurt themselves emotionally, not even financially. The financial stuff is easy, anything that you whatever disvalue or you know low or whatever, it doesn't matter because you can get it back. But the emotional lacerations, those add up in time. And you may be able to conceal it for a few weeks, a few days, a few months, even a few years. But eventually, it's going to be a ticking time bomb. And when it goes off, Armageddon. How can a person recover from that? How do you rebuild it? Out of all of my patients, there are 3 or 4 with this trait, right? And out of those 4, this is the first clue. This one has a trait of emotional self-sabotage, where the outcome is not just failure of a task, a goal, a project, a series, something they're trying to develop. The goal is to cause emotional pain to themselves. And there's no way of determining if it was an internal factor, external factor, if it was on purpose, if it wasn't on purpose, was it a casualty, is it, dealing with childhood? None of those things are prevalent. It's unclear to match why this is happening. But from what I've experienced, it's really daunting and really concerning because why, I'm asking myself, would a person place themselves in a situation where emotionally they know they're going to be at a deficit and they're engaging whatever they can to be at that deficit? As a human being, there's no other option that I have. There's nothing else that I can do but allow time some time and continue to study the patterns of the situation to see how I can better administrate the situation, as well as the impact that ultimately it has had on myself. because all the wiring in my brain, all the wiring in my soul, like my heart is just like broken into a million pieces. Like, I don't know how to help this person. Whereas different for any other situation, I'll be able to break it down and say, okay, this is the business strategy, this is what we're going to do, this is how we're going to do it. Now, from a financial standpoint, yes, many opportunities were lost. Multi-million-dollar opportunities were lost. But this is different. A lot of the times when I mention the money factor, it is to highlight the emotion. But in this situation, the emotional outcome was premeditated by this person. And I also realized that this is a pattern. This person continues to do this to put themselves in a chamber of like being shamed and guilt. When having conversations with this person, there were many trigger words like guilt. Guilt was a trigger word. Words like crazy, words like weird. That for the average person, are not that serious. But for this person, anytime there was a verbal combat, their default programming would be to highlight that. And I didn't understand that until now that I realized this pattern, right? That this person is putting themselves in this guilt, yet is defensive about others, making that person feel as if they're guilty. So in the end, who wins, right? What's the end game? I don't understand. It does not make any sense to me. Sometimes people wait for a really long time for their dreams to come true or a goal to be achieved. And in that process, you see how many other people are in the pursuit of happiness, right? They're aspiring for these beautiful, wonderful things. To the point where it kind of blows your mind when you see somebody have this opportunity wholeheartedly, completely in every sense of the word, success and checking all the boxes. Has this, has that, has this, has that. And still, there's something inside that is not functioning. To the extent where there are force multipliers, where this person can create these words and these environments of confusion for all of the people around this person. To the extent where people don't know exactly how to deal with the situation. So, looking at the overall consensus, I was scheduled for failure regardless. There was nothing that I could have done other than implement or showcase a different lifestyle, a different perspective, so that at a bare minimum, this person could have a sense of contrast. Analyzing the situation brought me to tears because no matter what perspective, what point of view I tried to look at the situation, it was horrible. It's like a self-induced horror movie. Life is not a drama. Life is not a scary movie. Life is not a horror movie. Life is not about problems. None of those things. Those are all choices. Those are universes people throw themselves into. When you have somebody for so much amount of their life, or their time here on earth, dealing with these things, it's challenging to try to suggest a different alternative. You know, so as far as I'm concerned, not only do I want to learn from that perspective. I have the natural desire to look for the solution. That kind of brings it back to a different connotation. Right? How do you help somebody that's not willing to be helped? But worse, how do you help somebody that sees no wrong in that behavior and continues to, in a sense, not only abuse themselves, but abuse the people around them that, out of concern, um, you know, express their willingness to help and assist and, you know, shadow this person. I can highlight different uh, controlling factors, manipulation factors, even in a basic conversation. It's like dealing with a person that's constantly trying to score faster. You know, you may block some shots, you play defense, you might score some points on your own. But there is no first quarter, second quarter, halftime, third, fourth quarter. It's like ongoing, nonstop, every day. This is the goal for this person. And as a human being, I cannot help it but to feel the same sadness that this person feels, feel the same pain, be able to relate to this person's story, even if it's slightly in a different way. How do you prevent the heart from feeling? How do you prevent the mind from thinking and seeing, like, think about a child, right? God forbid, a baby's learning how to take their first steps or whatever. Baby holds on to the couch, holds on to a blanket, holds on to a pillow, holds on to the puppy, the dog, the cat, whatever. But the baby falls. And the baby's used to falling, the baby's able to get back up and laugh about it and it's nothing. But what happens when the immediate laugh, due to the confusion of the external input of the parents, comes into play? And the baby discerns, wait a minute, no, I hurt myself. The baby starts crying. Your natural human reaction is to pick up the baby. You okay? It's all right, baby. Don't worry about it. Everything's okay. In a sense, this is like a person subconsciously doing everything to put themselves through a distress syndrome, like the confusion, the disappearance, the drama, the chaos, all these bad things, then going through it just for the sake and the purpose of seeing the thing. Then they see through the challenge, a short amount of time span passes, and they do it again. It's to the point where I've narrowed it down to several times in 1 week. I can see somebody having a psychosis once a month. You know what I'm saying? But this situation has really deeply touched my heart. And I'm trying to understand what part of it. Is it the abandonment? Is it the abuse? Is it the anger? Is it the isolation? Could it be the circumstances? Maybe this person feels a victim to the circumstances. Maybe they feel social political inputs that places them in this victim mentality. Is it predetermined? Is it pre-orchestrated? This person wake up and say, "This is how I'm going to carry myself um, towards the world." Because also there are in certain circumstances where those defenses were not acceptable, where there were clear rules and boundaries established. This person went to other default programs, opening up different levels of the psychosis, like different decades of the psychosis. It's like I was able to look through all, this person's life and say, okay, I see the pattern. These 5, 10 years, these 5, 10 years, how did this happen? What were the changes in the world? This person is setting themselves up for failure, even though they're super successful in so many other things, for the outcome, or the exchange, the end result, the product being that they suffer emotionally. This is a person that is selfless, has a beautiful heart, has all the amazing qualities and traits, that amazing human being. Yet there's something so broken, in a sense, evil, manipulative, deceptive, negative, aggressive, all the things that you don't want. Now, there's a common consensus that depression is every emotion at once. You're happy, you're sad, you're bitter, you're sweet, you're encouraged, you're dynamic, but then you feel compulsive, you're strained. Well, this is all at the same time. And I have to agree to a certain degree, right? It is a form of depression, but it's a different type of depression because these are not just bottled up emotions of external factors. These are bottled up emotions used for the sustainability, right? The survival of the actual disease of the psychosis to continue the cycle. It's like putting themselves through, let's say, they're off to see the wizard, right? Wonderful Wizard of Oz. They're taking the yellow brick road, only to run into the wizard and know that it was all an illusion. And then do it again, knowing that the outcome is going to be the same. It really concerns me because I don't feel in society that we have a chamber for people undergoing those situations. Now, there could be so many different factors, right? But unlike the common consensus, this person is uber successful to the point where I could only compare it to perhaps what happens with some celebrities and entertainers and sports athletes and figures of the public. I still don't understand why this person would hurt themselves emotionally, psychologically. This is not like a physical harm type thing. This is somebody that probably behind closed doors really talks negative and harm to themselves. And that's a huge concern. It's a very huge concern. I feel like this person has a beautiful heart, this person has potential, this person is interested in the same things, which is the, unfiltered pursuit of happiness. But there's something there that, I don't know, every once in a while it just rears its ugly head. Like, it doesn't make sense to me, but then I kind of understand a little bit of it. And I'm happy with the 1% that I do understand. Social politically, it's taboo to talk about these things. People don't feel comfortable, but it's important. I don't think we should talk about it all the time because I don't think that's healthy either. But every once in a while, we should all do an assessment. What makes me happy? What makes me tick? What's my hobby? What do I like to do in my spare time? And what is that revealing subconsciously to ourselves? Like, all right, I really like to play golf. Why do I like to play golf? Is it the course? Is it the temperature? Is it the view, the scenery? Is it the fact that the grass is cut perfectly? Is it the customer service? Is it the beer truck that passes by every hole? You like to buy a drink? You need a margarita? You need a tobacco, a cigar, whatever. Is it the fact that if you win, the losing team has to buy breakfast at the clubhouse. For some people, it's just being on the golf course. For some people, it's just going to the driving range. For some people, like myself, it's just about driving the golf carts. But it could be so many different things. In this situation, I have to create distance and a boundary and draw the line in the sand. I convey to this person, you need to you need to make a decision. You want my help, I can help you, but not at the expense of myself. When I give with everything. If I love you, I love you with everything. If I'm a friend, I'm a friend. If I'm a business partner, I'm a business partner. So yeah, no problem. But this is different when somebody just has lost the desire to do certain things. And it concerns me because those are traits when somebody has given up. There's no satisfaction in a successful career, the white picket fence with the pool in the back of the house, the luxury car, all that stuff. That has not done anything for this person. And we're talking very, very long time. We're talking 2 or 3 decades. This is not something that manifested overnight. And in a sense, I can kind of see this person in their 30s and 40s forming the shape of this view of the world and just hardening that deep over time. Very successful in other fields of life. But when it comes to dealing with those things, very puzzled, very challenged, very limited. I personally have so many projects going on spiritually, as a Jewish man of faith that I can see the challenges right before the blessings. I can definitely see the challenges right before the blessings. I don't agree with everything that's happening, but I do my best to understand. Everybody does, deserves the opportunity to be understood, even if it's complex outside the box. I never dealt with a situation like this before. I must say this is the first. I was excited that I can identify these 4 or 5 patients with the same kind of psychosis, but in a different way. But it's something very unique. Like it's not just narcissism, it's not just grandiose. There's another 9 multiple, uh, uh, force multiplying factors, right? But each one kind of teeters towards a different direction. They all react to certain things pretty much similarly. There's definitely a good heart in each one of these people, deep down inside. And you can see kind of glimpses of it every once in a while. You kind of see, damn, it really builds confidence. It builds hope when you're trying to help somebody overcome this situation. But I never walked away from the situation feeling so much sadness, like overwhelming sadness, like underwater sadness. Like any direction you move in, you can feel the water move, right? And my question, again, I'm the why guy, right? Why did this person put themselves in a cyclone, like a tornado, of just depressing thoughts and emotions and feelings? It doesn't make sense. It's like this person is able to have happiness in little spurts, but it can never be a continuous cycle. I think once there's any signature of things stabilizing, this person creates this barrier, this shield, you know, becomes passive aggressive, even verbally abusive. There's no other way to put it. Yet then there's like the personality change, right? The feeling bad that these things happen, but still not really accept the responsibility of being the nucleus, being the detonator to that situation. How do we move forward from here? Of course, all of my peers and colleagues are like just allow them to space for themselves. Let this person go through that cycle. There's hope at the end of the cycle. Eventually, this person will find their way out of the cycle. They always manage to do it. I think I have not done the best job to highlight that these things will continue to happen. Like I would have no time. This is an assessment that was fairly, you know, short term, you know, and I don't know. I wish everything would either happen all over again or that I could do things differently. But the more I pray about it, the more I think about it, the more I realize like it kind of had to happen this way for me to have that epiphany, for the light bulb to go up, right? And say, damn, this is the way to do it, right? I'm very grateful and I'm very appreciative that I was able to interact with this dynamic. But again, the overall residue, the signature of this situation is the sadness. This person was able to transmit their sadness to other people. That is different. That's unique. I can see you making somebody irritable or upset. I can see you saying, let's say, a cool joke and everybody laughs and you're transmitting happiness. But to transmit sadness that stems from the sadness inside that person, but now transmitting that to other people, where's the end game? What are they getting out of it? Is it relevance? Is it attention? Is it dominance over the situation? Priority over the situation? I don't know. But I do feel that every person that comes across this situation naturally taps into that love and they want to help. That's like an uncanny power. This person has the power to make you feel extreme love and extreme sadness. This is one individual. How do you move forward with that? How do you help that person? You see this person running full speed, full speed, full speed, brick wall, bang, stops. They get back up, they go, run even faster, full speed, brick wall, bang, bang. Eventually they scrape their knee. Eventually they need a bandage. Eventually they need a helping hand. Eventually they need a Heimlich maneuver. Eventually they need crutches. Eventually you see them in a wheelchair. You're like, there's a saying in my culture, you know, if you go hard, you're gonna hit hard. You're gonna crash hard. And this person is comfortable doing everything last minute, like pushing it to the limit, just living on the edge of everything. Bills due on the 31st. They're paying the bill on the 31st. If the office closes at 4 o'clock, they're there at 3:59 and a half. You know? And this is the pattern. Subconsciously, it's like they set up the self sabotage just to get to that point where they can only move the goalpost when they're 1 yard away from the touchdown. I've never dealt with a situation um, and I never walked away, even from a conversation, feeling so sad. And I'm talking about days, weeks, hours later. I'm like, oh, I can understand and I can relate. You always see the guy in the Ferrari, in the Porsche, and the Lamborghini driving by themselves. You never question why. There are many reasons why. Now, if that's not a beautiful sight to behold, think about how much more dynamic it is to see that person in sadness. Where the average person would say, yo, man, I wish I was Sylvester Stallone, and I had this, and I had that, and I had this, and that. Not knowing that that could come with that package of that depression, of that sadness. That money cannot fulfill. Money cannot. There's no. There's only so many things that you can get. But if that core is not healed inside from within by that person, because that person truly wants to fix that, there's nothing that you can do externally. You have the biggest house, the fanciest car, the biggest jewelry, you have the clothes, you do this, you travel, you buy stuff. Everybody buys stuff. Everybody buys stuff. It doesn't matter. It's never going to be enough. Go to Disney, spend $5,000 on merchandise. Go back to the next day, spend another $5,000 a month. What are you gonna do after the fifth day? You have everything that they sell. All you can do is buy it in a different color. Then what? Now this person goes back every season. I need more, I need more, I need more, I need more. How do you share with this person that there's more to life than that? How can I do my best to share with this person that you have the right to live a life of peace, love, support, and understanding, and everybody's worthy. How do I mention that to somebody that it's no longer about pushing the goalpost forward? Just there is no goalpost. This person has everything, yet they hate to look at themselves in the mirror. When they look in the mirror, they don't like what they see. When they hear the tone of their voice, they don't like the sound of their voice. When there's a conversation, they want to control the narrative because if you speak about that, it's like you're peeling the bandage off the wound. But I mean, like a sticker, just pulling it out. I don't know how to help this person. And because this person is super successful, they have ways to shelter themselves and bunker themselves. And all it's doing is just decorating the true sadness. I've had plenty of celebrity friends, and I can see some of these traits, but this is not a celebrity. This is not an influencer. This is not an entertainer. This is not a sports athlete. This is not somebody that's overall in the media like that. In fact, this person is probably mostly disconnected from me and has a very, very helps the churches, helps the charities, helps the homeless, helps the everyday common consensus people. And in a sense, I don't know if that's maybe like a way to shelter in public, to showcase this image of look what I'm doing for the community, look what I'm doing for the community. But deep down inside, kind of like implode, like pain inside, just from the silence. If there's any potential for negativity in this person's life is silence. That to me is completely different. Even in the circumstances with which I got involved, with the situation. All I can do when I try to factor all these things, tabulate them and calculate, well, this is the trajectory, it has to be this, it has to be that. It gets to a point where you can only calculate things so much and then everything is just zero, zero, zero. It's like a scale, it's like balancing a scale. And after you reach that pillar, that mountaintop, right, you got to zero, balance everything else out. With that amazed that this person can create love in any circumstance, any environment, amongst any group of people, and the signature of the sadness. And what blows your mind is that this person purposely orchestrated everything to happen so that they can feel sad punish themselves and put themselves in this chamber of horror story. Life is this trauma and all this other stuff. You know, I don't speak that language, but a lot of people do. It has fried every circuit in my brain. This situation literally brought me to tears. I'm very proud to tell you that because I cried for no less than 6 hours straight. I recorded it. And I was doing my best, I'm writing my notes, taking my notes, I'm doing this and doing that. I'm like, I don't understand. What is it? What is it? What is it? So now I'm diving further into early childhood development. Maybe there was some trauma. I don't see that at this moment, but I'm so overwhelmed by the silence that it has created a paralysis for me. I don't know how to move forward. I don't want to be too aggressive because I don't want to discourage this person. And I do want this person to open up and show me what their day-to-day cycles are, right? From a psychological standpoint. Yeah, I can look back at the situation and see so many different facets of this person's personality traits, right? During different moments. It's like whatever is convenient at that moment. You know, I've seen this person behave a certain way during a concert, during a charity event, during a business meeting. Like it's just so many little things and that's just like wow, deep down inside there's somebody that's so broken. How can I help this person? The only thing I can think about for right now is to just be a soundboard, just listen, not engaged, not disengaged, not be pro, not be calm, not be good, not be bad, just listen. I think this person just needs a sense of direction, a sense of companionship. Um, I'm not in a position to do anything to impress this person as of yet. Maybe a few months, down the line. But it worries me and it concerns me that it could take that amount of time in order for me to try to do something that I'm just unable to do right now. And then what happens when I'm not around? What happens when you can't just pick up the phone and call me? A lot of concerns. Even as frustrating as it is sometimes, I have to remind myself that there is a deficiency there somewhere. And then it's even more hurtful that I see the person trying. I see a great percentage trying. But then I also see that percentage that just sabotages everything. I even tried to sit down and explain some of my religious beliefs, not trying to preach religion, just sharing my beliefs, right? And something is just not registering. So I'm veering towards the closer belief that this person has lost a child at one point or another. And that's a whole another situation. So a lot of women go through that, post-traumatic syndrome after giving birth and stuff like that. But this is different. This is something like it must have been. If I could assume, if I could guesstimate, if I could guess, I would say this is something that happened um, with that person's child. I'm gonna say before the age of 10 to 15. I lost a baby, 7 years old. Changes a lot. It changes a lot of dynamics. I don't necessarily know how to move on. I just know that it impacted me to the point where I wanted to kind of touch base on it. I wanted to mention it. I wanted to explore it. I tried to write it down, but I was so frustrated as I was writing. I said, "Man, let me do this, let me do that." Overall, I just feel that sadness. And I don't know if I failed this person. I hope I didn't. But what else can I do? I have so much stuff going on. And I put a few things on pause in the last few weeks just to kind of administrate the situation. And I know this is very hard, very, very, very hard for me. I just feel this sadness, and you know, all I could do is pray that this person is able to make it and be able to survive and be able to overcome. And I can give you advice, but that's about it. Everything else is really up to the person. So what can I do but pray about it? Hopefully share this with the medical, society, and hopefully it can inspire and help another person. I don't think I need to have all the answers right now. I think it's going to take time. I think a situation like that is going to take a minimum of about 36 months to kind of sort everything out. There's going to be too many factors. And I see that. I say 36 months because this person will showcase one pattern and showcase a different pattern. Then showcase an additional third layer of pattern, which is a combination of the first two. And that's the unwillingness or the need to always be relentless. It's the unwillingness to settle for a common consensus. Deep down inside, this person is really suffering. They've been through a lot of even the people that kind of helped me with the situation said the same thing. And then I asked myself, why would God put me in a situation where I'm pretty much responsible for this outcome? Like, I don't want to give up on it worries me that this person might have given up on themselves. Even when I think about it, I can just feel like the despair, the destruction, the separation, frustration, lack of understanding. The list goes on and on and on. And again, the person. How many people like that must be roaming the earth? Where regular conventional medicine or doctor or medical system may not be able to, like understand or be able to engage in a situation. Have a blessed day. You know what I mean? Like, you know, how do you help a situation like that? There's really nothing much that you can do. You know, I could tell this person, these are the books, these are the classes, these are the courses, this is how you got to do it. But that's where I get the feeling of, maybe this person is just something like that. And maybe for conventional thinking, that's not what most people would, like, I guess, view situation is. But nonetheless, it's just very difficult to do. So, I feel in my heart I've conveyed everything I wanted to convey to you guys. 5 pages, 5 paragraphs each, 5 words in sentence, 5 completed spaces in between, 5 visions. Please show the work. If you use any artificial intelligence technology, but you must show the work. If you do not, I'm going to assume what you did was just technology. You guys will get 0 credit for it. But I really look forward to see what the outcome will be. You know, I feel like this person, these people, these circumstances all have an amazing potential. I really do feel that in my heart, you know. But I can't make them money and success. You know? I have a cousin who um, this person's dad is my godfather. Growing up, you know, we had our houses right next to each other. My godfather's house, beautiful mansion, multiple floors, just out of this world, right? You know, hold on. Give me one quick second. Hello? Yes, speaking. Yes, ma'am. Oh, I think my aunt left those things behind. Did she leave everything? Okay. Is there any way that you guys could just set it aside and I could try to recuperate it later today? Yeah, yeah. And then, okay, perfect. I'm gonna try to make it across town to see what can be done. And if you know, worst case, then I'll just tell you guys to throw it out or give it away to the people there. But let me see what's going on. No problem. All right. Thank you, my love. God bless. Speaking of situation, sporadic behavior. Sporadic behavior. Now, I'm gonna have to make a few phone calls and find out what's going on. So, keep you guys posted. Unbelievable. And let me tell you something. There's another reason why I'm happy because had I not taken that time out to distill these feelings, right, that phone call wouldn't have been irrelevant because now I'm gonna have to deal with part of the situation, and it's very heartbreaking, very very heartbreaking. Keep you guys posted. I'm extremely broken. I know it's going to take time. It's going to take time to reevaluate things. And I think I'm in the process of doing it. Just by exploring these emotions, something was triggered. Like I was in the middle of a business meeting, and all of a sudden, just the sadness in me, and then the concern, the worry, and the doubt that, these people, places, things, and circumstances will be under control. And most of the news is like a roller coaster emotion. It really is. I'm really happy. It definitely impacted me. It definitely struck a chord in my heart. Um, in a sense, me being there for a space where I'm still thinking like a soldier. Like, I don't want to leave anybody behind in the battlefield, even if that battlefield is poverty and mediocrity. Just no pursuit of happiness, no attempt to do anything. But we'll see. We'll see. So I'll leave you guys with that. I wish we could talk about some seriously cool stuff with technology and stuff like that. The situation is different. The situation is very different. So, God bless. Keep you guys posted. Hopefully, we've had some type of breakthrough. We can make things better. Until then, I'm praying every step of the way. You have an amazing day today. May you conquer everything in the path. May you touch them to side of both. May you conquer everything in the path. May everything you touch turn into solid gold bars and beautiful and precious gemstones such as moissanite and laboratory diamonds. Always remember to dream big because dreams come true. Happen to me. In fact, it's going to happen to you. Let's get a quick prayer and pray. Thank you, Heavenly Father, for all the blessings in our lives. Thank you, Heavenly Father, for all the blessings in our lives. We will thank you for everything we have because we're in the process of getting it, we're on a journey, and we're doing this. Amen. We'll be right back. We'll be back quicker than you guys can do this. Okay? God bless. Peace out. And don't forget, dreams come true. Yeah? We all have challenging moments. Right now, I'm dealing with it. But no matter what, you make it, baby. It's happening.